All right, it is Figgie and the Moose on this Friday right here on Pix 11 Plus. Good morning, Figs. How you doing, bud?
I'm not well.
Yeah, I'm sure. After the Mets, getting swept away. Crack out the brooms.
Yeah, that was not pretty. That
Yeah.
was definitely not what we were expecting.
No, not what you were expecting. Well, you're not feeling great. You're upset. Why?
Why? It's the optics. It's the way it looks. I get the internal side of it. I get the, streaks and peaks and valleys. I get all that. But it's the timing of it, right? It's who it's against. It's when you had an opportunity to put someone who has been the division leader over the past 5 years, relatively easily. How, how do you let off the gas pedal right now? How do you take a step back and not just one person, not just two people on the team, but as a collective? Like it looks bad, it looks lethargic, it looks uninspiring. This wasn't the Mets team that just a week ago was 5.5 games up and having a chance to really create some distance between themselves and the Atlanta Braves, and then go take on the Phillies. They're limping into the Philly series right now, and something's got to wake them up.
Yeah, no, I get it. I mean, it's the Atlanta plus you've enlivened the Braves. The Braves start to believe a little bit. The Mets came to town. I mean, I don't think we have to see the Lindor home run at the end of the year, end of the year last year anymore, or the comeback or Edwin Diaz and the sign of the cross right before he stepped onto the mound to try and get the save and the ground out to end it and clinch the playoff spot. I mean,
See, you remember it.
That's 2024, right? Because the Braves were basically the Walking Dead, and the Mets, after Game 1 and blowing Game 1, and Marcell Ozuna ripping the double down the left field line, right, and then the bad relay throw and Lindor dropping and the tying run scores, and then you get the walk off win in extra innings by the Atlanta Braves, and they celebrated. I mean, now the Braves have life. I mean, you've
Yeah.
them. The Mets have given them life. They believe. They look at the Mets again as like, yeah, you know what? Last year, more of like kind of like a blip on the screen, fart in the wind. It disappears, right? It is what it is. The Mets came to town, and we were 13 out. We were 8 games under 500, and we played like the team that was 20 games over, the leader in the National League East. The Mets played like the Mets.
Yeah, no, up and down the lineup, man. It's just it just looks real lazy right now. Like there's a malaise. There's hey, we're fine. We'll get out of this. It's 6 now. It's 6. It's not. It's one thing when it's you lose 2 out of 3, or especially when you're in Atlanta, you expect it, but you got to have one of them, right? So
But
you threw away the.
I told you, I said, like, listen, and they could still, I mean, they got 4 games with the Braves next week out at Citi Field, and let's see where this losing streak goes. By the way, who's starting? Did they give you a call? Are you starting tonight in Philly?
No. I was on the show.
The guy that was supposed to start was
Hagerman or
2/3 last night because Clay Holmes threw like 195 pitches in 4 2/3 innings of work.
Yeah. The experiment was going so well, and it all stems from one. It's like a Jenga game, right? The Peterson outing, he's cruising along. They're up 4-1. He's got them right where he wants them. And the phrase that we were looking for yesterday is "let a sleeping dog lie." Okay, don't wake him up. Don't spark him. Peterson just threw a complete game for the first time in his career, complete game shutout. Everyone's so thrilled, over the moon, and here he goes. He's putting on another fantastic performance in Atlanta, and you push him just a little bit too far. And it seemed like Reed Garrett came in and he almost got out of it, almost pulled a Houdini magic act out of his hat. And Alvarez and him differ over how they should put away Ozuna. Ozuna is one of the toughest hitters to throw anything inside on. He's just so lightning quick. Hits the double, clears the bases. Now the game is tied, and it wasn't just that it was tied. It felt like it was somehow the Braves tied the game, but you felt like the Mets got knocked out right there. You just did. It was just that moment in time that you're going to look back on and be like, what happened right there? And they've been reeling ever since. And you're always as good as your next day's starter, but the next day's starter hasn't been able to step up yet. And then ask Clay Holmes, who has been on a pitch count the last couple of times out because, there's got to be some fatigue. This is the most innings he's ever pitched at the big league level. This is the most innings, especially after being a closer. He's ever pitched as a starter, and we're not even at the halfway point yet. So that's a concern because then you left him in yesterday because you needed an outing out of a guy who has pitched like
it's only June. So I
that.
mean, time's on the Mets side. You got Blade Tidwell tonight.
But did you peak? Did you peak too soon? Did you peak too soon though? Like that's a concern. Is like OMG last year was a rally cry. OMG this year is really describing the New York Mets and the 6-game losing streak.
But I said it when the staff was doing what they were doing. We talked about it on Sports Nation Nightly, and we sent out the clip, and I got a lot of hate tweets from Met fans when I said I don't think what the Mets are doing with their staff, with who they have, is sustainable. And people are like, oh, of course it is. I mean, of course it's sustainable. Well, no, not really, because there's not a lot of. I mean, Brazelbaum comes out of after you see Clay Holmes walking a run last night. Brazelbaum comes out of the bullpen and walks the next guy on 4 pitches with the base. I mean, like it's like
9 walks last night.
There's not
9.
I didn't think it was necessarily sustainable to be that dominant. I didn't think they'd be as leaky as they are right now. And let's be honest. I mean, the rotation without Kodai Senga, the rotation stinks. I mean, it's not a particularly strong starting rotation. Then you're looking for this lineup to go out there and play to the back of their baseball cards, and hitting with runners in scoring position has not been particularly good this year. They didn't really have a lot of, as the old baseball cliche goes, there wasn't many ducks on the pond last night for the Mets. And the Atlanta Braves won that game stylishly. I mean, you can sit back, relax, enjoy your favorite libation down in Hotlanta last night, as that game was a laugher late, and the Mets showed you little to no punchback. And now you got a game in Philadelphia tonight where you're starting Blade Tidwell against Zach Wheeler.
I mean, sounds like it should be a fair fight.
Yeah, no, it doesn't. Not in any sense of the word does it sound like it should be a fair
Think about the pitchers that the Mets just faced in these last 3. Moving into tonight's game, you have Chris Sale, you have Spencer Strider, and Zach Wheeler.
Right, I get that, right. So you can't go out there and do it with smoke and mirrors. And Frankie Montas is going to rejoin the starting rotation, even though he's been brutal with his rehab starts. And what's the excuse? Well, the excuse is the rational, well, we signed him to be a starter, so we're going to give him a chance. I mean, not exactly confidence-inspiring where you're looking at where the former, Red Brewer Yankee is after the Mets signed him in the offseason and gave him that 2-year deal. And we've made a lot about this pitching lab. I get it, but let's be honest. I mean, I didn't, even as much respect as I have for the pitching lab, I always thought that this starting lineup was going to be the driving force to this Met team this year, and they got to be better. I'm sorry. I mean, Juan Soto's got to put the big boy pants on. He got $765 million. I don't care that he's taking pictures with Ronald Acuna. This is not 30 years ago where there's the vitriol and hatred between players, right? Guys go out there. They have great friendships, relationships. They can separate that when they go on the field. He's not thinking about his friendship with Acuna when he's taking on the Atlanta Braves. So if you're a Met fan and you're making a big deal about that, I got 2 or 3 words for you. Get a life. I mean, it's really not that big of a deal. But it's time for Soto, Lindor, Alonso, Nimmo, Marte, Alvarez. I mean, Francisco Alvarez. I mean, did he all of a sudden become, the next rendition of Gary Sanchez? I mean, Francisco Alvarez looks awful.
No, it's very scary to think the projected promise of Francisco Alvarez. And listen, it's not for a lack of work ethic. I watch down in spring training every day. He's working on changing his stance, and things work in batting practice that don't work in the games. It's blatantly obvious because they continue to allow him to use his hands in a different way, put his hands in a different position, start with his hands almost like a JD Martinez with them up above his back shoulder. And it's great in batting practice. And he has such good power that he's able to hit the ball, rockets to right field. And then the game comes and he's immediately trying to yank everything to left field and trying to hit that Tampa Bay home run that he hit to tie the game. Remember that one where he threw the bat up in the air and everything else. It just looks different. It looks like a guy whose confidence has been absolutely drugged through the mud. And he's just not himself. He does not look anything like the prospect that everyone thought he would be. And it was funny because we talked about it many times that Buck Showalter was the first one to say it. He's like, I keep hearing this guy's a good prospect. I keep hearing this guy's going to be a star. And we were like, but you're not even letting him play. He's playing 1 day a week, that kind of thing. And now you see why maybe he was trying to hide him a little bit while he, seasoned up and got more at bats and got better at all around game. I mean, it's a lot of sloppiness, the way he's catching, the using, trying to backhand scoop balls out of the dirt instead of blocking them with his chest. Balls getting by him, pass balls, wild pitches. We've seen an increase in those, especially in this Atlanta series. And so Terrence has been a nice find when you pick up somebody off the scrap heap and, who was in the minor leagues. And he was doing so well. But again, the reason why guys are backup players, the reason why guys are role players, the reason why guys are superstars. And we haven't seen the stars of the Mets shine for, they've been streaky. They've been streaky. I need the consistency. And Juan Soto has been turning it on. He's been turning it on with a ton of singles in the, 6th inning when nobody's on and it doesn't matter. Give me bases loaded, Juan Soto in a drive with a gap. That's what you are expecting and you're hoping for. But until they've got to find a way. Maybe, hey, how about this? Yeah. How about this? How about a players only meeting before the Philly series?
I think
biggest
that
time
would
of the year.
The alarms. I think we're not at that stage yet.
But have you seen? But like, I'm watching the dugout. I'm watching the dugout after the game.
The hurricane warning to sound the alarms for players.
No, but you can have these things. You can have these things in house. The media is not. The media is not allowed into the clubhouse or in the area until 3-4 o'clock. Everybody's there at 2 o'clock and just having a meeting and just talking. You know what? They could do it on the flight and nobody would.
Well, that's fair. No, I get it. But if you have like that official, like they did last year after the reliever threw the glove into the bullpen, and
Lopez.
JD Martinez, it was of all the player only meetings he's ever been to, is the greatest player only meeting that he's ever been a part of.
Hey, it worked.
It did work. There's no doubt it did. But I'm saying that joking around. But like, I think if you think Met fans are nervous now, imagine if word came out that before the game tonight that they had a players only meeting down in Philadelphia. Like,
I'm of a different ilk.
The Met fans in this tri-state area would be running around like their heads are on fire.
No, I think honestly, you know what? You got, after the way that they kind of walked on and off the field in Atlanta, and as we said, hey, now you just gave them life. I think it's a wake up call that, hey, you know what? We do give a sugar honey iced tea, and we need to play better. We need to show up. We need to hold each other accountable. That kind of thing, because that's what a captain would do. A captain would be like, all right, enough's enough.
Yeah, listen, I don't disagree with that. I don't know if we're there yet. I get the point. Maybe we are. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe we are at that peak. I'm surprised we're here. I'm surprised though. I told you before this series got started on Tuesday night, don't give the Braves belief.
Worst case scenario.
Don't give the Braves life. And they came out of that last 3 games, and they're starting to believe. They're starting to believe. They are. I mean, and that is Olsen hitting a 450-foot home run, basically a skyscraper. I mean, and the rotation is just.
No, it's been lackluster all the way around. I mean, Peterson again.
As you mentioned, lineup's going to get going.
Yeah, it has to. You got to be able to survive injuries, and I get it. Everybody's gonna point to, when Senga was in this rotation, it was much better. Yeah, I get it, but they didn't have Senga all of last season, and they still were able to find a way to make it work. So the reinforcements that are coming, they are in desperate need. The Manaya and Montas and anybody else who has a fresh arm at this point, because we're starting to see it. They're pulling over into the breakdown lane here as we only pull into July.
No doubt. They're in the lane. They put on the flashers.
Something's not right. The check engine light has come on.
They're looking for some help. They've got 4
check engine light has come on, and we're not really sure why.
They've got 4 bald tires, and they need somebody. They need somebody to give them a tow. We'll come back. We'll talk a little bit about the NBA Finals and what a response last night it was for the Pacers last night in Game 6. And we've got a Game 7 Sunday night out in Indianapolis. We'll do that next. It's Figgie and the Moose on this Friday right here on Pix 11 Plus. Welcome back to Figgie and the Moose. Marc, Malusis, Nelson, Figueroa with you. The other big story coming out of Thursday night, and thanks for being with us here on this Friday, was what a response by the Indiana Pacers. They won that game last night, I think by 18. Really wasn't an 18-point game. I mean, at one point in time, they led by 30 plus. The Pacers, you didn't necessarily – I mean, they came out and played similar in nature, and we've seen these performances. We saw it Game 3 Western Conference Finals between Minnesota and Oklahoma City. We saw it Game 5 Knicks Pacers in the Eastern Conference Finals, where teams go out there and respond when everything is on the line and their season is on the line and they're facing elimination, and especially when they're home. And I'm not taking anything away from it, but from what Indiana did, but Halliburton's not 100%, but he only played 22 minutes in the game and he had 12 points. But his presence on the court means a lot of things. Give credit to TJ McConnell. Give credit to Rick Carlisle on the coaching job that they did. We talked about the fact that they needed to outscore Oklahoma City behind the three-point arc, and they did. The Pacers played a wonderful basketball game last night. They really did, and left no doubt. And now we got a Game 7 Sunday night back in Oklahoma City.
Yeah, it's the best case scenario for basketball fans, because this is what you wanted to see. It's a David and Goliath, a team that had what were the odds? A 7-1?
Yeah, minus 675.
Minus 675 was, yeah. So
one, yeah.
To see a team like Indiana, Indianapolis, who they gave no real chance to, and it was like, how long can they hang in? Let's see if they can make it interesting at least. Well, they made it damn interesting, damn interesting, real fast. And last night was what you expected out of the building. And you kept hearing people all over basketball saying this building was, it was almost like a 10 versus 5. The atmosphere that they played in, that's what you love as a player if you're playing at home, is that it is so loud, it is so aggravating for the other team, every little thing, and it just took them to another level. Like, Halliburton was supposed to be hampered by this calf, and I didn't see it. I didn't see any. I mean, he's jumping all over the place. He's stealing balls, saving balls, making passes. They're running 3-man weaves in the open court, in transition. They look like the Pacers that we were fearing when they were playing the Knicks, right? There's ability to slow them down. And Oklahoma City was able to do that for the most part. But Rick Carlisle, again, changed it up, right? They were defending people, and Shea Gilgeous-Alexander, whoever brought up the ball, they were defending them for 94 feet. They were going out there and double teaming people early on and putting pressure on them. And then they switched it around last night, and they went into the paint and said, hey, if you're going to come into the paint, there were 5 Pacers on you. It's very similar to what OKC was doing to Halliburton. And Halliburton was saying, his head was spinning in the first 2 games of the series. Man, these guys are unbelievable defenders. Everywhere you look, there's a guy there. Well, if you watch film and you watch the game last night, you saw it relentlessly. They were on the ball. Wherever the ball was, there wasn't just one guy on it. There were 2-3 guys ready with a hand on the ball, with a hand in the face, and ready to jump to try and block a shot. And they did an unbelievable job of that.
No, they were great. I mean, they were great. And shame on Oklahoma City. They didn't necessarily bring the intensity last night. Halliburton only had to play 23 minutes. I mean, it's not like he had to go out there and play 35, 36, 37 minutes with that right calf strain. Game was never really, outside of being down 10-2 early, from that point forward, game was never really in doubt. I mean, the game was over at halftime. You could figure out something else to do as Siakam hit that jumper at the horn to end the first half, Figgy. So now you got a Game 7, and all the pressure in the world's on Oklahoma City. I mean, that's it. So it's a team that has shown you great immaturity in these playoffs at times. There's no doubt they're extremely talented. We know that. I thought defensively last night, I think they looked lazy. with some of the stuff that they did. They did not respond to the situation particularly well. It's not like they gave Indiana much of a fight. Now, have we seen a lot of momentum from game to game in this series? We have not. So I don't know if necessarily it's going to impact in Oklahoma City. When you look at it, they've been statistically and visually more dominant at home than they have been on the road. So the Thunder are an 8.5-point favorite on Sunday night. So Vegas is telling you that, you know what, they believe Oklahoma City is going to win the NBA championship. And if they win the game 7 and do it decisively, this is an Indiana team, though, that has proved a lot of naysayers and doubters wrong throughout these playoffs. And Figgie, now it's just about one game. There's no wiggle room. So, if Oklahoma City doesn't have their prototypical performance, Indiana's going to be right there. And this is a Pacers team that's hopping on that flight, heading back to Oklahoma City, that they firmly believe. Carlisle has outcoached Dagno. Oklahoma City, I would make an argument that pound for pound, they're the more talented team. I would tell you, though, the Pacers have played like a better team, similar in nature when you look at the Knicks series. There was a lot that separated, but Indiana was the better team. The Pacers have played more consistently like the better team in this series.
It's really, when you are reliant on your superstars, and you're supposed to be, right? They're the ones that are supposed to carry you. That's one thing. When you continue in every single series to have ways of changing the personnel, and sometimes the product comes out better, and not have, and I say this in great regard, and not have to play the superstar. They can we saw Halliburton resting in the Knicks series in key moments, right? He was on the bench when TJ McCollum was out there. He was on the bench when Nembhard was out there. We saw him on the bench. And isn't he supposed to be out there for 48 minutes? Isn't he supposed to be the guy out there? We've seen this Indiana Pacers team, and it's almost, there's no ego to this team. There's no me. I need more touches. I need more of this. No, and they are so good. And I think this is what we've seen in this series. Even though it's a 7-game series, you have seen two teams, especially the Pacers, that are able to change their identity from game to game. What needs to be done? What needs to be done in a different way? Right? It's been it has to be 3-point shooting. Oh no, wait, it has to be rebounding. Oh wait, no, it's turnovers. Wait, and they've been able to respond to it, right? And so you never know what you're going to get. I think that's the thing about the Pacers is, they're going to run you up the court 94 feet. Wait a minute, they were playing back in the paint, waiting for you to come to them. Taking moments off the clock and allowing SGA to dribble into a 5-man coverage. Like, that was what was really special about Indiana in this series. And Carlisle has done a masterful job. And every turn you look, and he's had an answer. It's never, my bench isn't deep enough. We know they got probably the deepest bench, in the NBA when you look at the players that we have. And you want to talk about gaining confidence? TJ McCollum is playing on another level. He feels like he's the starting point guard. Even Albert, right? And then you look at a guy that was a throwaway, Obi Toppin. Obi Toppin dropped 20 last night. It was a force.
Second round
as he came in to the game. He checked in the building, the energy when they came in. It wasn't like, oh no, the starters are out. It was, yes, Toppin's in. Yes, McCollum's in. They're chanting their names. And Toppin goes out there and he's hitting threes. He's dunking the ball with velocity. It's a different style of play depending on what personnel goes out there. And it's been so fun to watch. To liken it to a hockey movie, slap shot, when the triplets come off the bench and create mayhem. That's what it's like when Indiana Pacers call on their bench. It's like, here they come.
No doubt. All right, quickly here, because we're running out of time. Would you take Indiana plus the 8.5 or lay the 8.5 Sunday night?
OKC has been a different animal at home. They've just been so dominant. They're a minus 67, I believe, on the road this year. They've been a plus 200 and some odd in at home. So I'm going to take OKC.
Okay, I'll take Indiana plus the 8.5.
Yes, $5. You said it.
I don't know if they necessarily win the game. I think it's going to be a close game Sunday night. Maybe okay. I'm hoping that it is. It's a game 7. Yeah. It's fantastic. It really is. Anyway, we got a game 7 Sunday night. Love that. Good luck to the Mets tonight in Philadelphia.
I'm taking it back to sunnier times.
Yeah, no doubt. Love that. Spring training hat. Beautiful. Port St. Lucie. Great spot to be in the spring. No doubt. And we'll be out there at the stadium on Monday. Just, I mean, just take a game in Philly. Just win one.
Just one.
Just win a game. Don't come
again,
back. Don't come back to Citi Field Monday night, losers of 9 straight.
Oof.
That'd be tough. Watch them win tonight with Blade Tidwell on the mound. Watch them win tonight. Anyway, we're out of time because we're gonna get yelled at that we went too long. That's happened before. Not yelled. Yelled's a little too strong.
That is strong. That is reprimanded.
Reprimanded.
I like that.
You like that? That's a good word, right? Good pull on a Friday. Anyway, thanks for watching, and make sure to check us out 7 p.m. Sports Nation nightly on Pix 11 for Nelson Figueroa. I'm Marc Malusis. This has been Figgie and the Moose right here on Pix 11 Plus.